First of all, our presenter. Our presenter is Kip Bautista. He is a technical enablement specialist, and he has over 30 years in design and manufacturing, especially in the machinery and the medical device industries. So Kip, having worked in these industries for so long, he has a unique understanding, and he personally understands what challenges you are facing today with product data management. So I'm very pleased to have Kip Bautista as our presenter today. My name is Brenda Ainsberg. I'm the Channel Program Manager at Siemens, and I basically set up these back office systems and get great presenters like this, like Kip, to bring you the information that you need to be able to not just survive, but really thrive in today's competitive marketplace. So with that, I want to turn this over to Kip. Kip, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Brenda. Hello, everybody. Thank you for taking the time. Today's agenda, we're going to talk about 3 different challenges that Teamcenter can help everybody with. So the first one that we're going to talk about is some of the trends and challenges we see in today's manufacturing and design world. First up is engineering challenges for design release. Some of the different competitive things that we see is things like global competition, product configurations, compliance and safety. All these things are starting to come into play as we move forward with new design criteria, things like adoption, safety, compliance, and the way the markets are trending these days. So what do all these products have in common? We look at, we may design different parts, maybe offer different services in different industries. What do all these things have in common? They all take something to build, right? They have complex processes, there's machinery involved, and there's other different processes that we have to start to somehow become a little bit more efficient so we can become very competitive. So what's the impact on the businesses, right? If we look at what we build today, we look at our market and we look at consumers and what they're buying, things change very quickly. You have to be able to reuse what you have in place. You need a better sense of what the customers are looking for, and also, how fast can we bring these things to market. When we think of globalization and how we can get these challenges in check so that we can become a little bit more efficient, we can make smarter decisions and move a little bit quicker, and being able to get things out to market fast, what are the possible solutions that we need to address to be able to accommodate those type of things? So what is PDM? Kind of an interesting question, but everybody seems to look at things as PDM is, when I deal with customers, I hear things like part data management. That's your typical check-in and check-out. But we're going to drill into this a little bit deeper, and so that we get a better understanding that PDM is really a product data management, and what does that really mean? If we tend to define PDM as kind of like part data management, your typical check-in and check-out, where is it, and things like that, we're really only looking at a part. But as a business and looking into the markets and other things that happen in the different processes to create this part, one thing that we really seem to forget about are the supporting documents for that one part, the non-CAD supporting documents. And if you work in the industry right now, we all know that one part has multiple documents that support that. So that you're looking at a part is basically, maybe 10, 20% of all the other things that actually make that come to fruition. with that part, we have to find all the different documents for it. Right? And typically people say, you know, where is my drawing, right? How do we find it? Is that the latest drawing we have in place? And once I find it, what do we do with it, right? Well, what can I do with that object or the document that I found, and, you know, how is it important to that design itself? So let's take a look at what we do in Teamcenter and how important those other documents that tie into that one part that we're trying to design. So drilling a little bit deeper into the part design, we look at this part might have a requirement document attached to it. It might have a drawing. It might have a specification. It might have some manufacturing information, also marketing and packaging information. So to better understand it, when we stand on the part, we will be able to see all those different objects that support that one document. Knowing what's driving that one part and what controls it, like the requirements, packaging, marketing, manufacturing, having all those pieces connected to that one document, easy to find, will help us move forward quickly and be able to analyze any changes that we're going to look at. So let's take a look at this. So we have a polling question up at the top. Do you have an existing PDM system? So we're looking for you guys to kind of do the report on here. So check what you need and submit it.
Thanks, Kip. Let's give everybody just a few more seconds. So grab your mouse and go ahead and select which one. You do have one, you don't have one, or maybe you're new to the organization and you're still working your way around different parts of the system and you're not really sure. Don't worry, we won't tell. So go ahead and put in your final answers, everybody. We'll want to understand, you know, what percentage of our audience has a PDM system and perhaps doesn't, so that we can have that discussion as a part of this webinar. So fantastic. All right, let's look at the results that we have. Okay, looks like about 66% have answered yes, they do have an existing PDM system, but we still have 25% or so that don't, and just under 10% that aren't really quite sure. So let me turn that back to you, Kip.
Okay, thanks, Brenda. That's pretty interesting. So we have a lot of people, we have a high percentage of people that currently have a PDM system. So that's a good thing. So the benefits to having a PDM system is, you know, you're able to find data quickly, optimize some processes, your release processes, manage documents quicker, and make the changes, implement changes quickly and accurately, right? So when we, on a high level, when we look at that, it's like, and most of those CAD systems or PDM systems that people have initially said that they had, I would challenge one to say, do I need to use my vendor's PDM system? And that goes back to that definition in the very beginning, what is PDM? If you look at the CAD vendor's PDM system, you could really define that as a part data management, check in and check out. If you're looking at a PDM system or a product data management system, now you're looking at the whole entire process of requirements, specifications, and other things like that. So in that context of product data management, let's take a look at what we manage currently right now, right? So product data management with Teamcenter, we have the ability to manage multiple CAD systems, and we also have the, you know, the ability to search, open, check in, and check out, and save. One thing that we have with Teamcenter is our visualization data, our JT Common Open 3D data, and it's not just the viewing type data for each of our CAD designs. We can actually reuse that data for manufacturing process, being able to use that in our other CAD tools that we can actually bring in multiple CAD systems into one final assembly, and we'll see a video on that later on. As well as looking at interrogating in a sense of a multiple CAD system, a multi-CAD environment where you have parts and designs and different CAD systems and bringing them all together in one central location. As you can see, this graphic image here, it shows all the different major CAD systems, and we're going to take a quick video to look at how all these different formats play together, and that each one of these CAD systems, as we save data into the database, into Teamcenter, we actually have that capability of generating the JT file so that we can assemble and we can inspect and we can interrogate the models in a multifaceted, multi-CAD environment with Teamcenter. So in this video, what we're seeing is the ability to manage SolidWorks data within Teamcenter. And one thing that you want to notice is that we are in the SolidWorks application. So the design engineer stays in the authoring tool that he's accustomed to. And he also has all of the complete access to the database information that he may need, being it a requirement, a specification, and other things like that, so that he stays in his tool. He's able to reach out, grab that information, and being able to quickly make decisions as he's designing. As you can see, the SolidWorks environment that he's doing, it's your typical environment that the CAD user will be in there, and he goes about his day creating his own drawings and doing his task as he does on a normal day. And then you'll also understand that as he's doing this, everything is happening behind the scenes. He has that capability to look into the database, grab information, change the different tables so that within his drawing, he can actually see and retrieve information that is coming from the database so that when it syncs up in Teamcenter, all that information will be the same. So he's not really going into Teamcenter to find that information. He has that capability right here in his original tool. Right now, we're looking at the Save dialog box, and once it saves, it goes into Teamcenter. So let's take a step back in Teamcenter. And now that when we're looking at this, we notice that this assembly is made out of several different CAD systems, and you don't need a CAD system. You don't need to access a CAD system to be able to go into the design and interrogate the model, possibly making a markup, being able to add information to it so that you can better design the part as you move forward. You have complete access to all of the different disciplines, all of the different CAD tools, all within Teamcenter. And it's quick, and plus you don't need a license to be able to interrogate this model. So here what you're seeing is a common markup, a markup tool, so that if we need design changes, we can send them out and actually give those to the designer to say, here's some of the things that we need and some information that we need to apply. In this scenario, what we're doing is we're interrogating the model in a sense that show me all the different CAD systems that this one assembly is made out of. So as we step through, we can quickly look and see that there's a whole bunch of parts for Solid Edge. There's 270 parts for Pro E. There's some CATIA parts and some SolidWorks parts. And as we pick through those, we can see the different CAD systems that are contained within this one assembly. More information that we can do, again, as I said before, that we can actually interrogate the model in a sense where we can do clearance checking using the JT format, because it's a powerful format and it's actually just not a viewing tool. It is actually real data with real specifications to it and dimensions and drawings. So we can actually interrogate the whole entire model without a CAD system. So this tool can be used by an analyst or somebody that doesn't need access to a different system.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Kip. So we have a series of quick polling questions here. There's actually 3. So let's do our first one. So if the audience wouldn't mind, let us know what CAD tools are within your environment. Now we understand you might use one CAD tool or another as your primary, but what we're interested in knowing is, what are all the CAD tools that are involved in, say, what you're creating, what you're building. So that could be, what your suppliers use. That could be, what some of your other collaborators are, whether they're within your group, without your group, maybe, across the country or across the world. So for all the CAD tools that are within your, design and manufacturing environment, go ahead and select all that apply. You can make multiple selections here. And since this polling question takes just a little longer, let's give it about 10 seconds. So please do grab your mouse, select all that apply for CAD tools that are within your environment that you know of. Let's give it just a couple more seconds so everyone can get their answers in. Okay, great. So let's do a quick display of those answers. Thanks, everybody. So no surprise, the majority of you use SolidWorks, and we expect that since this is specifically towards managing SolidWorks data and processes. But we have a fair representation of a couple of the other CAD tools. So that's not uncommon to see a true multi-CAD environment in today's marketplace. So moving along, let's do the second portion of this series of questions. So do you reference different CAD data formats in your primary CAD tool? This one should be a little bit easier and quicker to answer, yes, no, or you're not sure. So again, the question is, do you reference different CAD formats in your primary CAD data tool? Kip, did you want to add something quickly?
Yeah, and this question kind of poses, do we translate data so that we can bring it in as a reference so that we can, let's say we have a part and we need to build fixturing to it, on the manufacturing side, or we have a part we pull from the internet, we want to bring it into our system and being able to, either design to it or design around it.
Excellent, thank you. So hopefully that clarified the question for anyone who needed a little bit of clarification. So let's go ahead and move forward and display the results of this one. So we've got 33% saying yes, 45, almost 46% saying no, and fairly high percentage, 20% that are not sure. So we've got about 65% that are between no and I'm not sure. So Kip, I want you to just remember that as we move forward to this third question. So after that question, it makes sense for us to ask you, what is the primary CAD tool? And if you want to add a little bit of clarification on that, Kip, please feel free to jump in while people are answering.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that we got 33% of people in a so-called MultiCAD environment. I would be really interested to find out, what the main primary CAD tool is that, if they're translating data, if they're reusing data, if they're copying and pasting, how that works for everybody else. So we'll see how that turns out.
Excellent. So let's just take a couple more seconds. Please, everyone, grab your mouse and go ahead and answer the third part of the 3-part question, which is what is your primary CAD tool? So with that, let me move forward and display the results. Okay. So, no surprise there. We've got, CATIA and or SolidWorks, probably SolidWorks in this case, as the primary, but there's a pretty high representation of other CAD tools that are primary in there, especially when it comes to SolidEdge or NXCAD. Interesting. Kip, let me advance this and turn it back over to you. Thanks, everybody, for your participation.
So on that, what are the benefits to having a single source of data, having all of your data in one platform, in one database? The ability to be able to find everything quickly is important, regardless of the CAD system. Everybody understands how to look at things, so you don't really need a CAD system to interrogate a model with 3D visualization. It's just not a viewer. It has a little bit more backbone to it. It's got a little bit more processes that we can drill into without actually consuming a CAD seat. And being able to grab data from anywhere, put it in the system, and apply it to a model or apply it to an assembly, and being able to share across multiple different product lines. Next part that we're going to talk about is engineering release. We really want to know, when is this thing done? When is our parts done, right? How do we know when it's going to be released? What state is it in, right? So with Teamcenter, the ability to clearly see what is released, what state it's in, we're actually able to digitize and standardize our different processes, whether it's a simple process or even a complex process. Complex processes can take a lot of time in releasing data within the system. And I once put a step tracker on somebody and had him walk me through, who signs off on what building he has to go to get somebody else signed. And, on a low average, you're walking about 2 miles a day if you have a job folder and you happen to walk things around to have people sign off. 2 miles a day of things like that. So using a system like Teamcenter, we can standardize, digitize, and optimize the system. More importantly, it's a standardized process. Everybody uses the same process every day, so nothing ever changes. It's quicker to be able to find where things are, what's the next steps, and you can actually schedule and plan a little bit better as you go out through your design release. Active Workspace. We have a client. It's called our Active Workspace client, and what that is it gives us the capability to look into the database with a no footprint client. It's an HTML web browser client that full access into the database so that you can see the different processes. And we're going to play a little video of this so that you can see how you can be mobile, because a lot of people are mobile these days, and still be able to access and do things that you need to do in your engineering design processes. So as you can see, this is an HTML. It's just a browser. You can use any HTML5 browser, and you can step through the designs. You can look and interrogate the database, look for different things that you might want to release. Active Workspace brings all of the data to you in a mobile platform. You can use it on a tablet. And in this scenario, what we're doing is we're looking at the different attachments of some documentation that needs to be released. So if you think about what you do every day and how you release what your release process looks like, and how the different things that you need to do when you want to add status or release a product, you don't really need to go into a system. Active Workspace allows you to be able to see those things in your mailbox, be able to select different options, be able to release them, and sign off on it as you go throughout your day. So once this is all completed, you'll note that in Teamcenter, everybody sees everything because it's real time, very dynamic, very quick, and you can step through the processes fairly quickly. So you can see that you have all these different tasks. They're all broken out and indexed so that you can clearly understand where you're at any point in time as you're sending this through the different workflow processes. Now, again, we're digitizing, or we are automating all of your engineering processes. They're always the same. You follow the same process, and you'll be able to access those things quickly on an iPad, on a tablet, on a notebook. You might be able to do it on the phone if you got really good eyes, but I don't.
Excellent. Thank you, Kip. Let me move forward to the next polling question we have. So talking about integrated release processes, do you have an integrated release process in your organization, or at least with what you do today? So the answers are yes, it is integrated with your product data management system, since many of you indicate you had one of those, or maybe you have a release process, but no, it's not integrated. It's through some kind of a separate system or application. And some of you may answer, no, there's no managed release process, in the way we think of managed release processes at my organization. So go ahead and take just a few more seconds to let us know. Yes, you have an integrated release process. It's integrated with your current PDM. You have one, but it's separate, some other system, or you don't have a managed release process. Let's just give a few seconds so that every one of our attendees can have an opportunity to answer. All right, great, everybody. Thank you so much for your answers. Let me move forward and display those results. So it looks like only a little over 35% has one integrated. And we also have actually more people than, we have 40%, for almost 41, that do not have any kind of managed release process today. So 35% integrated with PDM, 23% they have a process, but it's not integrated with their PDM, and 41% get no managed release process.
Yeah, it's interesting. So what are the benefits? We all know what the benefits are for that, is, being able to efficiently standardize our processes, I think, is a real key takeaway on this, right? We really want to be able to follow a process and follow the standardized process and automate that so that there is nothing that could fall through the cracks. Every task has to be completed before the next handoff. And then that way, we can actually track those things, where things are hung up in a process, and be able to look at our schedules and accommodate the schedule, saying, we need to move this along. This is why, and we can nail down some of the issues. And you can only do that if you have an automated system that, that allows your release process to flow through quickly. So customer benefits, and this is an interesting slide to me. We always want to do these three things. We want to increase productivity, we want to have greater efficiency, and we want to improve flexibility. But if you look at these slides, and if you look at the companies tied to these slides, these are large companies, right? And I always say that large companies, if they make a mistake, right, they have the finances to be able to come back from that mistake. They have the ability to say, you know what, we made some things. They have time to correct things. If you're a startup or a smaller company, common mistakes that these larger companies have means you're in a lot of trouble. So when we talk about efficiency and who really needs a PDM or even a PLM system, it's the smaller companies. They don't have the resources to make mistakes. The more mistakes they make, the harder it is for smaller companies and even the mid-level companies to come back from. So this slide is, we always look at these slides and look at information look at these big companies that are doing this. Yes, it's making them a lot of money, and it's making them efficient, making their processes more efficient, and they're saving a lot of money. However, if we look at the lower level companies, the companies that are startups and don't have a lot of finances or a lot of resources to bear, little mistakes like these hurt them a lot more. So it's more important for a startup or a mid-range company to be more efficient, to have processes in place so that these mistakes don't hurt them. So the design release management, we can find it. It's Teamcenter, as we saw in the previous slides. We know we can understand and interrogate it, and we know what to do with it. We have the capability of being able to manage multiple CAD systems. So if you have a lot of resources and skill levels on different CAD products, that's not a problem. We can bring all those things in so that you can still be able to quickly design and manage your CAD systems. And more importantly is being able to standardize processes, no matter what process it is, if it's a release process, obsolete process, if it's going through something like a requirements to a marketing or a marketing requirement to engineering, we can actually standardize all those things so that we follow the steps and become a little bit more efficient and understand each discipline within the company so that we all work together and collaborate. Out-of-the-box solutions that we have with Teamcenter. Teamcenter is a very large platform. We can accommodate almost everything. However, for PDM, we really want to focus on, one, managing the CAD data, streamlining, making the processes a little bit more efficient and standardized. And not only the CAD data that we look at, remember in the very beginning, one of the things that I commented on is that for every single part, there is multiple documents supporting that, whether it's a requirement, a specification, a bill of process. There are more things behind that part than we think we have, but we still need to manage those things. And also the ability to configure roles and have access to that data. We don't want anybody in marketing changing CAD data, so we can actually lock things down so that only the proper disciplines can access the right data. Everybody can see everything, but we don't want anybody just to change things. On top of that, when we look at systems like Teamcenter, we need to be able to access these things quickly, and more so is being able to, where does Teamcenter live right now? Do we want it in-house? Do we want it on the cloud? We have Teamcenter on a cloud capability, and this really comes into play. If you think about buying a laptop, the moment you take it out of the box and you start to use it, you'll find that you go on the internet and, oh, look, there's something new out there just after you bought it. So if you think about on the IT side and being able to have faster machines, deploy things a lot quicker, you can put it up on the cloud and have the latest and greatest hardware. And to be able to accommodate those type of things, right, being on the cloud it's a flip of the switch, right? So you can simplify your deployment by putting it on the cloud and have somebody else manage it. You can actually instantly scale it. So if you need more horsepower in your hardware, being on the cloud, it's again, you just log in and ask for a larger piece of hardware, and then you can also lower your cost of ownership because all of that infrastructure is not in-house. It's done on the cloud and it's all virtual. Very secure. And that's one of the big things that, I hear with my customers is that, how secure it is. It is very secure. The government's using the cloud. They have all these pieces in place to make that data very secure. So that's one advantage of having Teamcenter on the cloud. So we have another question?
Exactly. So we have one last polling question. Actually, it's the second. No, it is the last polling question. So would you like more information, about managing PDM? Would you like some case studies, maybe links to some videos or some other specific information? Just let us know. Yes, you'd like more info, or, maybe right now is not the time. You're pretty busy. You're getting ready to go on vacation or something. We can always follow up with you later. Or, if you're all set, just let us know that also. While you guys are answering this question, I just wanted to remind you that we have a Q&A box. Please, any questions at all that that come to mind, please go ahead and enter them in the Q&A box because we're going to get into our Q&A very, very quickly here. So hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to let us know if they'd like more info now, maybe they'd like more info a little bit later, or they're pretty much all set. And moving forward, if you want some info right now, down on your resource list, we have a link to a website where you can get some more information. We also have a couple of brochures you can go ahead and download. There's a checklist, and there's also, a general Team Center brochure. So this might be helpful for you, in the short term, just to get started. So with that, one last thing before Q&A, we do have a survey. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit that little widget on the bottom right of your screen, that little red widget with the lines. That's the survey. So if you don't have questions now, go ahead and hit that survey, please, and give us your feedback. We read every single one of those. And with that, Kip, we actually have some questions queued up. So if you're ready, I would like to go ahead and read the questions to you and see if we can get started on those. Are you ready?
Yes, please.
Okay. So someone asked very early on, PTC Creo 3.0 data. So, can Team Center handle managing PTC Creo 3.0 data?
Yes, we can. We do it very well. We have a number of customers using Creo 3.
Excellent. Perfect. So hopefully that answered the question. The next question is, again, it came kind of early in the webinar. So in order to integrate the 3D model in Team Center, do we need an add-on?
Tricky question.
Yeah. So in order to interrogate the 3D model in Team Center, do we need any add-on? So give us the high level first and drill in if you feel like we need more details.
Tricky question. So there are two parts to what we do when we're managing other CAD systems, and it's no different than the other CAD systems and other data management systems. First part is putting the data into Team Center. And with that first part, there's a second part to it. That first part, once we put that data into Team Center, we have another piece that actually translates that into the JT format. So there's a viewer piece involved that also comes along with the integration. So we do that in the background. So if I save a Pro E part into the database, you have that option of generating that JT. So the add-on for a Team Center to put these data into the database is the integration. So it would be a Pro E integration. We have an Inventor integration. We have a CATIA integration, SolidWorks integration, and also some of the other integrations like the ERP and things like that. So I hope that answers the questions. If you need more clarification, Brenda will note these down, and we'll get back to you with more information on that.
Excellent, thank you. So Linda, if you did want more details, feel free to use the Q&A or just let me know, hey, I want more specific details, and we'll get you that. So next question is, how easy is it to input legacy data into Team Center from Smart Team?
From Smart Team. Another interesting question, and it's kind of a loaded question. Data coming out of Smart Team, we need to take it out first and make sure that that data is prepped and interrogated properly before we bring that in. Once that data is out of Smart Team and we understand that the data is clean data, there's a different paths we can take to put it into Team Center. If you noticed when you saw that video, we can go into this in a little bit more in detail later, but just on a high level, SolidWorks has that capability of being able to work in a managed mode so that once you start your Solid Edge session or your SolidWorks session, if you have data in the screen, you can either save it to your OS or open from your OS versus save and open from Team Center. If you open from Team Center and then you open data from your OS, once you hit the save, the integration knows these parts are from Team Center. What do you want to do with them? These parts are not from Team Center. These are coming from the OS. They will actually automate the process, create item IDs for them, and then put them into the database. So if you're just doing one or two assemblies, you can just do File, Open in SolidWorks, and save into the database. If you want to migrate everything from Smart Team, you have to take the data out or get that data somewhere local. And then, we have different tools to be able to do data migration for that. So it really depends on the process.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Kip. So, Ed, if you wanted more specific details on that, just enter that in the Q&A, and we'll get you more information on that. Thank you so much for differentiating those two potential paths, Kip. So moving on, Ed had another question, and do you know if Team Center can handle Microstation legacy data?
That I will have to get back. There's different things that we can look at to write little widgets and put that database, put those different objects in it. We don't have a direct integration. I'm not too familiar with the Microstation formats, but there are different ways that we can actually put that data into Team Center and manage it. So that, again, is a question that we'll have to define a little bit more in detail of what you're trying to do with that data and how you want to use it and access it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kip. Great question, Ed. And Luke also is very interested in the answer to that. So, Ed and Luke, I will drill into this, into your contact information and forward it on to the right people to start having some discussions with you about Microstation, how people have handled legacy data. So I'll get you in contact with an expert on that field. So moving on to Jürgen, and please forgive me if I don't pronounce your name right. So moving on to Jürgen's question. So more of a comment than a question. He thought that it would be information about Solidworks integration. It was not so much about the integration, and he'd love to have a technical presentation, that addresses specific Solidworks integration. Jürgen, we can certainly get you in contact with someone who can do a specific demo for you. So I'll take that as an action item, and I'll make sure that I get your contact information to someone who can do that for you. So thank you for that comment, and I'll certainly do that.
Brenda, I want to comment on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting question. I get them all the time. And the important thing to understand about the integration, when we say integration, it's just a path to saving into Team Center. Okay, so you would use SOLIDWORKS the way you use it today. Make design your parts, your assemblies, create all that. And what our integration does is automates it in the sense that when you save, you can either save to your OS because you're not ready to manage it maybe, or you're just doing a one-off kind of thing and you just want to test things. But when you're ready to manage it, when you're ready to actually put some resources behind it, you save into Team Center, we create all those items, we put them into the database, and now we can begin to manage it. So there's, on a technical side, there's really no technical side. Well, not so deep on the technical side, but it's basically just saving from either OS or into Team Center. Everything is done in SOLIDWORKS is just what you do today, right? It's just where you're saving it. That integration creates that link and those tags in the Team Center.
Excellent. Thanks, Kip. And I think it's a good point to note also that we want to also focus on the fact that there is an answer, there is a solution for those of you who are in a multi-CAD environment, which is the vast majority of you out there. It's not just managing one CAD data and process. It's most people do function in a broader multi-CAD environment, and so that's why we took that direction for this particular webinar. Moving on to the next question, Kip, would you be able to tell us if the integrations are licensed separately?
If the integrations are licensed separately.
Are the integrations licensed separately? Like, let's say someone is using 2 or 3 CAD tools, in their whole process. Are those integrations licensed separately?
Yes. So we have we have like a Pro integration, Inventor integration, SOLIDWORKS integration. Those are actually separate from the actual Team Center license.
Okay. Excellent. Linda, let me know if that doesn't answer the question, and thank you. And so, quick question here. Can someone disable the measure feature on a JT file? So maybe that speaks more to, how do you configure control, right, with the JT files?
Okay. Interesting question, too. So the JT files, and we use those. So in that sense, and I'll make an assumption on that. What we're doing is, we also have a free product called JT to Go that you can download on your Windows tablet and things like that, so that you can actually open up JT files. So if you're sending these JT files, these neutral format files, out to other people, you don't want them to look at the IP of the product. You don't want them to measure. You just want them to see it. So we have controls in place that when you send these packages out of the database, the JT files, we can actually put locks on it. So, we might want somebody to measure it, so we give them access to that. We might not. We just want them to see, here's what it's going to look like. So, yes, we do.
Excellent. Thanks so much. And it looks like we have one final question. So how does data protection and control happen when working with international or local CAD suppliers / vendors? So data protection and control when working with either people who need to see the data, who are maybe international, or perhaps there are other local CAD suppliers.
Yeah, well, we can take that one offline. We do have things in place like ITAR, if that's what you're alluding to, as far as being able to access the data. It would be if you have a company that has, if you're a global company and you have team centers set up in different countries, it's all about the global licensing of how you actually push that data back and forth. As far as accessing the data, but it's more important, it's the access rights within Team Center, saying any user that is going to access our database, right, they have the proper security and rights and access and things like that. So that question can kind of steamroll into a longer conversation, but we do have security in place so that, yes, we can manage that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And our final question was, and a few people had this question actually, will you share the slides after this session? I don't think we have a mechanism, to post the slides to the recording, but you know what, Daniel, and for the other person who asked that question, I will look into that, and, if I can't figure out a way to get the deck available maybe in a PDF or something, I'll get you in contact with someone who, perhaps can share with you the information specifically that you need, and maybe even dive into some questions if you've got some specific questions about the content. And so let's give everybody just another couple of seconds. If anyone has any additional questions, please let us know. Kip is still here, I am still here, and we'll stay with you for as long as you have questions. Meanwhile, please do, before you depart, click that little widget at the bottom right of the widget bar and fill out that quick survey, because we read every one of those and we're really interested in your feedback so that we can look at the content that we bring to you and we can make it even more relevant and specific to what you, our audience, needs. And with that, there are no more questions. So thank you, everyone, for